Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It's 12 o'clock on a Sunday, which means it's time for a Q&A. Now, this is where I take all of the questions that you've asked over the course of the week, and I try to answer them to the best of my ability. Now, first of all, thank you so much for being a part of this channel. Genuinely, seriously, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. The fact that you've taken time to look at these videos and communicate, or even just watch them or like them or do whatever, I really appreciate it. It wouldn't be Magic TV without you guys. I wouldn't be doing it. So there's many times where I've wanted to walk away from this channel, and it's you lot that have kept me here. So thank you so much. Now, if you don't know what the Q&A is, the idea is that I'm answering all the questions that you've left this week. You're getting my raw and filtered opinions. I'm not preparing questions for this. I'm literally sitting down, reading them, and giving you my off-the-cuff answer. But if I do think that a question deserves a longer answer, I will probably do that at some point in the future. And I'll put together a longer answer and I'll make a video specifically about it. Also, if you want to guarantee to get your questions answered, try to get the questions into me by sort of Monday or Tuesday. I typically do these Q&As on the Wednesday. Today it's a Wednesday at 10 o'clock. So any questions that come in after Wednesday at 10 o'clock, they're not going to go on this week's Q&A. So try and get them in as soon as possible. Now, with that being said, there are a ton of questions this week, and I'm going to get straight into it. So without further ado, let's get started with the Q&A. So, first of all, we have Sean Francis Co-Magic, who says, "Hi, Craig. Thanks for answering my questions a couple of weeks ago about comedy and magic. I know you said your experience was limited, but I appreciate your honest and thoughtful opinions on the matter. You're more than welcome. Something else I've struggled with as a performer, but more specifically with magic, is imposter syndrome. I'm sure I've heard you talk about it before, but can you shed some light on how you would cope with it? My bread and butter is entertaining lay audience, but anytime I'm around other magicians, I suddenly feel quite insecure. I think partially it may be because there's so many close-up magicians and I primarily perform on stage in non-magic venues. If you can't tell, I tend to care too much about what my peers think of me. Any advice or tips or tricks for my brain, tricking my brain into believing in myself, would be greatly appreciated. Thanks as always." Yeah, look, everybody that I know that's a performer gets imposter syndrome. And it's very easy to do so because part of being a professional entertainer is promoting yourself. And you will typically see other entertainers promoting themselves on things like social media and Instagram and Facebook and X and all these different places. So what tends to happen is you'll see, oh my God, this person's got this gig and this person's got this gig and this person's got this gig. And it can almost make you feel really bad about yourself, like, oh, this person's doing so much better than me. And I've caught myself doing that in the past. I really have. A few weeks ago, there was somebody who's a friend of mine that was posting about a gig they were doing in Dubai, and it was like amazing. And I just sat down and I was thinking, well, at that day I had a gig in a private party in Cannock, in a back garden, doing some close-up magic for a 30th birthday party or something. And I was like, hang on a minute, I'm here in Cannock, they're in Dubai. I'm pretty sure I'm as good as them. What the hell is going on here? And I was a little bit miffed. And I went home and I spoke to Sarah, my wife, and she said, "Dummy, you forget how much you've done. You forget how much you've accomplished. There's people that watch you and your videos and watch what you've accomplished, and they're doing exactly the same thing. And they're sitting at home going, oh, I wish I could have the career that Craig's had, or I wish I could create and release this magic trick or that magic trick, or perform here, or do this with this company, or do that with that company." And I think it's natural to, if you're an ambitious type of person, it's natural to kind of pile on yourself that you convince yourself you're not doing as well as you should be. But I think you just have to believe in yourself, have self-belief, and make your metric you and not make your metric anyone else. Now, when that comes to imposter syndrome, I totally get that. I have been in numerous situations. I've been in so many situations where I kind of just look at myself and I'm like, what am I doing here? What in the blue hell am I doing here in this situation? I have no idea. And the thing is, you're always harder on yourself. You just are. You're always harder on yourself because generally, as a rule, most people don't think that. So genuinely, when I lectured at Blackpool a couple of years back, I remember walking out on that stage and the room was packed. And I remember thinking to myself, what the hell am I doing here? What am I doing? And I remember thinking, nobody's going to want to come to this lecture. And afterwards, people were like, "Oh my God, you're amazing, you're fantastic." And I was like, "Have they seen the same person? Are they? Are they?" And it baffles me. It amazes me. Anytime somebody comes up to me in a magic convention and says, "Oh, you're my favorite magician. I love," it means the world to me that they come up and say that. But it kind of makes me think, hang on a minute. There's so many incredible magicians in here. Why am I your favorite magician? Like over there, you got David Regal. Over there, you've got this person, you got that person. There's Josh J over there, for God's sake. Like, how am I even in the running? How am I even in the running? And I have self-doubt all the time. I've told this story before on the channel. You know, I remember the first big lecture I did was at the Magic Circle. It was probably the first or the second lecture I did. And I walked out at the Magic Circle and I was absolutely shitting bricks. I was like, oh my God, what the hell am I doing here? They've made a mistake. No one's going to watch. And yeah, look, you can do that. You can beat yourself up all you want to. And you can have imposter syndrome and believe that you don't belong. But the bottom line is, you made that opportunity. Anything that you've done in your career, whether it's performing on stage, whether it's performing in this venue, having this opportunity, having that opportunity, or performing to magicians, or just being around magicians, you've made the decisions that have got you to that point. And I guarantee you that there are multiple people, they might not say it, they might not say it, they might not say it online, they might not say it to your face, but I guarantee you that there's numerous people that watch you and they kind of think, damn, I wish I had the career this guy had. Because you say, hey, you perform on stage in non-magic venues. I'm jealous of that. I know you do a lot of stand-up comedy, right? I don't do stand-up comedy. I've always wanted to do stand-up comedy. I've always wanted to do a comedy club. I'm jealous of you. You just need to remember that you've put the work in. You've got yourself to that position where you're there. And you should be proud about that. And you know what? No one can take that away from you. And don't feel insecure. Don't feel like you shouldn't belong there, because you've done that and no one else has. You're in that moment, at that time, at that place, and other people aren't, because the work that you've put in. That's the biggest piece of advice I can give you. Just remind yourself every single day how brilliant you are. A friend of mine, a motivational speaker called Brad Burton, he always famously says, never mute your own brilliance. Don't let other people tell you that you shouldn't talk about how fantastic you are. Because here's the thing, if you don't believe how amazing you are, nobody else is going to believe it either. So just believe in yourself. I think that's what it comes down to, self-belief. You have to believe, you have to believe, you have to believe. Okay, so the next question is from Fixer9398, who says, hi Craig, thanks for what you do for the magic community. I literally watch every video you upload and I'm very grateful you exist. You're more than welcome. I live in a country where professional magicians are not popular at all, and the ones that are out there doing stage magic. You could count the close-up gigging magicians on the fingers of one hand. On one side, this is good because there's close to no competition, but on the other, the vast majority of people are not aware that you can book a close-up magician for your event. My question is, how do you make people book you if they have never encountered a magician before? Also, a lot of the magicians in this country do kids shows, so most people associate magic with something for children. So I don't know what country you're in, but I mean, this is a great situation. Like you say, there's not very many close-up magicians. And what I would do is I would really kind of dominate that industry, dominate the close-up magic industry. And part of the way that you would want to do that is educate people into what close-up magic is and educate people into how magic can work outside of a kids show. And I think that the way to do that in this day and age is social media. You know, social media is a fantastic way to get people to know who you are and what you do. I would be doing close-up magic on social media all of the time. You know, I would be uploading, like Ryland has a big reach on Facebook. He's coming up on 20,000 followers. I think his reach is 1.5 million, sometimes more. No, more than that, 10 million. Sorry, 10.5 million. I don't know, it's a lot. But he puts, I think, 3 videos a day up. I would, you know, if you've got the time, I'd put as many videos up as you can of you doing close-up magic, but do it to people, to adults, not to kids. Do it to adults and have those adults react. What you want to do is you want to have people in your country understand that close-up magic is really cool. And then what I'd do is I'd start writing loads of blogs talking about close-up magic and talking about how cool it is and all the benefits of close-up magic, I would approach national press. I'd be sending out press releases, and I'd be contacting newspapers, I'd contact radio stations, I'd contact TV stations, talking about how you're bringing a brand new style of magic into the country and it's going to take the world by storm, and you want to talk about it, and you want to give people a demonstration of it. You want to go on the radio and do close-up magic on the radio. You're going to go on TV, do close-up magic on the TV. You want to do all of this sort of stuff. Then what I'd be doing is I'd be contacting venues that have events, and I would be telling them how useful close-up magic is and how it can give them a competitive advantage over other venues. Because here's the thing, a venue will partner up with a magician if they think they can get something out of it. It's not about what you can get out of it, it's what they can get out of it. So when you approach a venue, you don't want to say, I'm a great close-up magician, partner up with me because then I'll get more gigs. You want to go, right, okay, there's a lot of venues in this area, they're booking a lot of entertainment. This is why close-up magic works really well. Very few people are doing close-up magic. If I become your recommended supplier at this venue, then what's going to happen is you're going to be able to offer something that very few other venues do. It's going to give you a competitive advantage. It's going to allow you to offer something which is going to get big in this country. I guarantee it, because I'm out there promoting it, and it's only a matter of time. I'd contact journalists, I'd contact PR companies, I'd see if you can do a deal with a PR company to get them to work with you for free, and you would do their events or something. I would just hustle. I was having a conversation with one of my members of my gold community on the Netrix, and they've grown exponentially, but the last month or two has been quiet, and there's a few reasons why it's been quiet. It typically is going into the summer with the type of work they do. And I said, when things are quiet, that's when you get busy. When things are quiet, that's when you get busy. You hustle, you hustle, you hustle. You go out there, you don't wait for things to happen, you make things happen. You are the person that's going to be going out there promoting close-up magic, and then when you've got it and you've nailed it and everyone knows about it, it's you that they're going to come to. Okay, so the next question is from Dr. Ed Bilch, who says, I have heard of the term floating keycard. I can't find a good explanation as to what the principle is. Can you elaborate? Yeah, so a floating keycard, the easiest way to understand it would be to use 4 cards. So let's just say that we've got an ace. Let's just say, okay, do we have a joker in here? The easiest way to explain it, no, I'm going to have to wreck a card. Bugger, oh well, I'm not going to wreck an ace or a queen because I've been using them for stuff. So let's just say, the easiest way to explain it is this, with 4 cards. Let's just say that you've marked, just for argument's sake, you've marked the back of one of the cards. Let's say this card has been marked. I'll put a crimp in it so I know which one it is. So let's just say the 2 has been marked, right? We all know that a normal key card, by the way, is that you look at the bottom card of the deck, 4 of clubs in this case, and then you do this. And let's say the bottom card is the 7 of hearts. They pick a card, you cut it into the pack, you don't control it, you know what their card is because you look for the 7 of hearts and then with the one to the right of it. The bottom card becomes a key card that tells you what their card is, right? That is a key card. So a floating key card, imagine that you had 4 cards, right? And you get them to shuffle the cards up face down, right? So they shuffle, or let's say 5 cards, there you go. So they've got 5 cards, 5 random cards, and you're having them mix up the cards, and then you're laying them out on the table. Now, because I've got my key card, my corners, but there, because I've got my key card, because I've got 1 card marked, that card there, I can see where it is. It's here in this position, right? So after they've mixed up those cards, imagine that they take one, let's say they take this one, and I have them look at it and put it back on top of the pack, and then I'm going to have them cut the cards a few times. Now, because I can see where my marked card is, that is, in essence, a key card. But it floats because that key card, they shuffled it into that position. It could have been anywhere. Because it's there, I know it's 2 under the card that they picked, the 9 of spades. So when they take these cards and they cut them a few times, and they take these cards and they cut and they cut, when they spread these cards out, I look for my my key card, and I see my key cards there, which is going to tell me that the 9 is here, because the key card's here. I'm going to count 2. Well, there's no more cards this way, so I'm going to go 1, 2. So that's got to be the 9 of spades. If we'd cut like this, if they cut here and the key card's here, I know that this card is going to be their card, right? But so in essence, you're saying, right, okay, mix up the cards, which they do. So they've mixed up the cards, take one, which they have. I see my key card. Let's say the key card was here. I've seen the key cards there. So now they put this on top, they cut a bunch of times, and then you spread out. You're looking for your key card. When you see your key card there, I know that this is going to be their card, right? So that's an example of a floating key with a small packet of cards. It's the same thing in principle with a big pack of cards. You basically, the key card is in different positions. It's not necessarily like a normal key card is going to be next to the selected card. A floating key card isn't necessarily next to the selected card. It could be in multiple different positions. It floats throughout the deck. Now, that's a very basic kind of way of understanding the key card, but hopefully that'll make sense to you in that it basically is a key card that floats into different positions in the deck. Now, there's a lot of literature on floating key cards, and it can get quite advanced the way that it's used, and sometimes you use Pharaoh shuffles and perfect Pharaoh shuffles and so on and so forth, but that's the basic kind of the very basic way that a floating key card works. Okay, so the next question is from Steedman99, who says, "Hi Craig, any tips on the one-handed top palm? I'm struggling with my thumb positioning. It always bends and gets in the way. I'm wondering should it be straight? Thanks." So the one-handed top palm, if you guys don't know, a top palm is when you come over a two-handed classic top palm. A lot of the time it's done with the squaring up of the deck, and you're taking a card into classic palm, into sort of full palm, right? A one-handed palm is where you're palming the card with one hand. So that card is palmed in one hand, and it's very, very useful, especially if you're doing something else with the hand. So let's just say I've controlled the card to the top. I could take the deck and I could pull up this sleeve and then pull up this sleeve, and in that action I've palmed the card. That's a one-handed top palm. Matthew J. Dowden has got a lot of work on the one-handed top palm. And natural fact, there's a lot of material both on Netrix about the one-handed top palm, and also Alakazam Unlimited. But in essence, briefly, I have the deck like this. So the thumb is straight at the back. All of the fingers are along the front. Now, the thing that's doing most of the work is the little finger. The little finger is at the top right-hand corner, okay? That's what's doing all of the work. Because if you can kind of see and hear like this, it's my little finger that pushes down and pushes that card into palm, right? So it's my little finger that does all of the work. Now, when you first start doing the one-handed top palm, you're going to have this. You're going to have that card flying off or twisting around and not going into your palm. That's because it's kind of muscle memory. It's a little bit knacky. The one-handed top palm is a little bit knacky. It's about finding the right spot. When you get it right, you should be able to, with no breaks, just take the cards and immediately just get the card in palm. You should be able to do that straight away. But the key thing is the thumb is at the back. Now, it's extended down beyond the bottom of the deck slightly, but all the fingers are at the front. And as you can see from here, my little finger is going to push on the corner. The pad of the little finger is going to push on the corner. And as it does, it pops that card directly up into full palm. So it's here. And the way to practice it is to just do it over and over again. That's how I practiced it. So I took the deck, I palmed the card, I put it back, and I did it again and again and again. And eventually, after about a week, and it's not going to happen immediately, but you'll get that knack. You'll do it. You'll end up not being able to do it, and you'll get really frustrated, and you'll be practicing, and at one point it'll go straight into your palm, and you'll be like, ooh, and then you won't be able to get it again. You'll try and do it again, and you won't be able to get it. But then you'll get it back, and it's just finding that knack, and eventually when you get it, it's great. And it's a very useful move to do, because you can literally just palm the card as you hand them the pack. So you can say, here, can you give those cards a shuffle? And you've palmed the card. As I say, Matthew Dowden's got some great material with the one-handed top palm. He's got this really cool thing where he's got this like cardboard stick man that is loaded second from top of the deck. And he draws a little stick man here. And I think it's up here, actually. And what he does is he just shakes. And as he does the one-handed top palm. And as he does the one-handed top palm, it's like that little stick man just jumps off the pack and becomes real. It looks really good. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing else I can tell you other than it's a knack and it takes practice. But hopefully, you've seen me do it about 20 or 30 times now. It's just pushing it into your hand. So hopefully that helps. Okay, so the next question is from Chard Magic, who says, "Hi Craig, sorry to hear about your recent sad news. Hope you're doing okay, no matter how long we have them. It's never long enough. Cheers, man." Yeah, I still struggling. Anyway, wondering if you have any advice for me, which I think others may struggle with too. It's magic overload, specifically wanting to purchase effect after effect and gimmick after gimmick. I find that if I've got a few things on my close-up pad waiting for me to give them time and attention, but instead I'm watching trailers and wanting something else, how can I strip it back and just perfect what I've got? Thanks in advance. Well, here's the thing, right? I understand where you're coming from. We all get that. Magicians have shiny object syndrome, like we're really distracted. And I think part of the thing is, one of the reasons that people get into magic is they like learning secrets. They want to learn secrets. They do. A lot of people get into magic because they see a magician do a trick. They've got no idea how that trick works, and they want to be able to do that trick as well. And as magicians, we are secret collectors. And so a lot of magic tricks that come out, people buy them just because they want to know the secret. They want to collect that information. They feel happy if they've got that secret. And new magic tricks are coming out all the time. And to be clear, a lot of the trailers and on the marketing campaigns that come out and are attached to these tricks, they are designed to get you to want to actually spend money, because that's marketing. That's how marketing works. And there's nothing wrong with that from a business point of view. My advice would be, it depends on... First of all, don't beat yourself up, right? Don't beat yourself up. We've all done that. I've got tricks in my drawer that I bought 10 years ago that I've never even looked at. Me and Ryland we've got stuff that we've got to rehearse and learn, and it's just been sitting there and we've still not done anything with it. Ryland's putting together a floating ball routine. We've got a Lewis de Matos floating ball just sitting in my man cave, waiting to be looked at and waiting to be learned, and we've just not got round to it. And it's been like 6 months now. So I get exactly where you're coming from. I think the key thing is, don't beat yourself up. We do beat ourselves up sometimes because we buy something and we sit it there and we feel like we don't give it the attention it deserves. But look, let's be honest, not everything can go into your repertoire. So you might buy something and you might look at it and give it a look at the tutorial and then go, well, actually, that's not for me. But you feel like you want to learn it because you spent money on it. Just accept the fact that not everything that you buy is something that you're going to want to learn. And then what you want to do is, if you want to really kind of curb this, force yourself to not buy a new product for 2 or 3 weeks. Because a lot of the time, people... see the trailer and it's like, oh my God, I need that in my life. I really want that. I really want that. And if you actually left it a couple of weeks, you kind of realize, well, actually, I don't think I do need that. I don't think I do need that. I want it, but I don't need it. So if you really want to curb this, put yourself, not a spending ban, but put yourself on a purchasing ban of new items until 2 or 3 weeks later. Leave it until 2 or 3 weeks before you buy the trick. You're going to see a lot of stuff that comes out on pre-order, and pre-order is, a legitimate thing. I've had stuff on pre-order in the past. Don't pre-order it. Wait for the reviews to come in. And not because that trick that comes out might be bad or might be good, because when you see a trailer for the first time and it's new and it's coming out, you go, oh, I want it. I want it. I do. I want it. I want it. I really want it. If you leave it a couple of weeks, you might not really want it. You just want it because everyone else is talking about how amazing it is. And that happens, doesn't it? A new trick comes out and everyone's posting on Facebook and the different Facebook groups and on the Magic Cafe going, oh, I really want this. This is amazing. I need this. This is the best trick ever. I love this trick. And it's kind of, it's called sheep factor in sales. My sales mentor called this sheep factor, which is, everybody else is talking about it. Everybody else wants it. So you just automatically want it as well. It's a thing. It actually happens. It's a thing. It's called sheep factor. Don't let sheep factor. And a lot of the time when new tricks come out, they are following sales strategy. There's certain impulse factors that they use to impulse you. I know because I use those same impulse factors when people ring up to book a kid's party or to book a close-up magician for a wedding. We use those same impulse factors: greed, indifference, fear of of loss, tone of voice, sheep factor. You know, like, hey, fear of loss. Well, if you don't buy it now, it's going to sell out. Sheep factor, everyone else is buying it. You might want to buy it as well. Greed, hey, this is going to go up in price in a month's time, but right now you can get it for this price. Indifference, hey, it doesn't matter whether you buy it or not. It's not up to me. It's totally up to you. You know, it's stuff like this are designed to impulse you, and that's what's happening. You're being impulsed. You're buying something that you don't necessarily really want, need, or have. Now, if you really want that, if you think that's going to add into your repertoire, great. It'll still be there in a couple of weeks' time. Very rarely do things really sell out. And if they do, they're normally back in stock, because if it's sold out that quickly, they're going to order more, you know. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. Don't beat yourself up. And then, you know, try and spend time every single day going and looking at the stuff that you've got that you haven't actually learned yet. And don't overload yourself. Don't go, right, I'm going to learn all of this. Just pick one thing and go, right, okay, I'm going to look at that today. I'm going to look at that. I'm going to decide whether that's for me or not. And have fun with it. Remember, at the end of the day, magic's a hobby, whether you do it professionally or whether you do it on a social situation. Magic is fun. It's meant to be fun. You know, we spend money on magic because we enjoy doing it. So don't beat yourself up too much. Okay, so the next question is from Jean-Luc Ganger, who says, try the hot shot, but the Alex Pandrea version is my favourite way to do it, Craig. It's not a move that I do anymore, but I was able to do it with his version. Dude, thank you. I'm going to look it up. I'm a big fan of Alex Pandrea, so I'm going to look that up. Thank you. If you have been able to make me finally learn the bloody hot shot cut, I will be the happiest person in Magic. Okay, so the next question is from Bryzelfia, who says, hi, Craig. Hope you've had an amazing week. Yes, thank you, I have. What would you say are 5 relatively easy yet underrated tricks in Magic that are absolutely killer? Well, underrated is a bit subjective, isn't it? It's a bit subjective because what one person rates, another person doesn't. I mean, I could think of a couple of things off the top of my head. I love Will the Jack's Match. I do. And I do lots of different versions of Will the Jack's Match. And I know some people don't like it. I know Nemid Phoenix absolutely hates it. But I think Will the Jack's Match is an amazing principle. And there's so much you can do with it. So I'd say that principle. And on the subject of Will the Jack's Match, which is in essence, say, Stay Stack, I think Stay Stack is just so underrated. You know, everyone talks about Memorized Deck, and they talk about Stebbins, and they talk about Stebbin Stack, and rightfully so. All of these wonderful stacks are fantastic, but nobody talks about Stay Stack. But there's some incredible routines you can do with Stay Stack or Mirror Stack, and I don't think anybody's really talking about them or doing them, and I think that's a real shame. So I'd say that's kind of very underrated. I would say, let me think. Linking rings, everybody, which is a weird one because a lot of people do linking rings, but the amount of magicians that I speak to at conventions, and I go, oh, what do you do? And their big pet hate is linking rings. They hate linking rings with a passion, or they don't do linking rings, and they're worried that it's not going to work because there's a gap in the ring, and everybody thinks there's a gap in the ring, and blah, 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 blah. I love linking rings, and I defy anyone to watch a good linking rings routine, especially a close-up linking rings. Somebody like Matthew Garrett, somebody like Michael O'Brien, somebody like Shuto Agawa, and you watch them do the linking rings, and I defy anyone to not say that that's one of the best tricks in the world. So I'd say linking rings. Another underrated trick I would say is thimble magic. It just is. Not many people do thimble magic anymore. But again, you look at Shoot and you see his thimble routine. Or more importantly, if you want to see a comedy version of the thimble routine, go and look at Alan Hudson. Sorry, for some reason I had Adam in my head and I don't know why. Go and look at Alan Hudson's thimble routine. It's brilliant. It's absolutely amazing. I love it. And I'd probably, the other thing I'd say is delights or pro lights. A lot of people don't do pro lights because you can get them in a Marvin's Magic kit. You can get them in a beginner's Magic kit, so everybody knows what they are. I think when you do delights properly, I think it can bring the house down. Like Ryland does a couple of routines with delights. He's got his light act and he's got his sequence that he does in his Harry Potter act, and I think it's amazing. I really do. So I'd say those 5. I think I might do another video on this and do like the biggest underrated tricks of all time. But those are the ones that spring instantly into my head, I think. Okay, so we've got one more question from Bryzelfia, who says, how difficult would you say it is to perform Leviosa? I have experience with loops, but Leviosa seems a bit intimidating to get into. The final moment, however, looks incredible. I can only imagine the reactions it gets. It's not easy. It's a learning curve, but it is doable. You look at somebody like Killian, who did it on America's Got Talent. You look at somebody like Nick Lacapo, who does it in his show, and you just see how well it can look. Ryland's learning it at the moment, and he's kind of getting there. He's not there yet, but he's getting there. But yeah, Leviosa is amazing. It's harder than loops. If you've never done thread work before, you're going to be spending a bit of time and effort trying to get this down. It's not the easiest trick in the world to do, but when you get it down, it looks absolutely amazing. You're right, the reactions are incredible. And go and look at some of Nick's performances with it and how the lights drop and the music comes off. It's just incredible. Okay, so the next question is from Ken Thompson, who says, hi, Craig, hope you're well. Very well, thank you, Ken. I was wondering if you ever perform fire magic in your shows. If so, would you consider doing a top 5 fire effects videos? Yeah, I do. Ryland does more than me, to be perfectly honest, but I do use fire. I do a lot of flash paper. I'm currently putting together a hows and whys of flash paper video for YouTube, which is coming out soon. So I could probably do a top fire effects. I mean, my favorite illusion in my warehouse is the fire spiker. I love the fire spiker. Love the fire spiker. It's so good. But yeah, I could definitely do a video like that, 100%. Okay, so the next question is from Nevio, who says, hi, Craig, is there an expansion pack to Keymaster coming later this year? As well. No, I'm currently, there will be more Keymaster related stuff coming out very, very soon. I've spoken to Sean Dunn. I've got prototypes to pick up in Vegas of the next 2 effects in the Keymaster range. So they're coming up, and I'm getting those prototypes. So the next 2 in the next 2 are coming up very, very soon, is what I should say. But I'm filming over in Penguin in August, and then I'm going back and filming later on in the year, sort of around about October, November. So because of that, this probably wouldn't be filmed until around about October, November, I would say. No, probably not until about October, November. So it probably wouldn't come out until next year. So I don't think there'll be any Keymaster releases this year, but definitely there'll be 1 or 2 next year. Okay, so the next question is from Mystery Man, who says, are you still going to make a video on Middle-a-Tricks for close-up? And the answer is yes, I am. I'm putting that together at the moment. I've got a lot of videos that I need to do, and it's squeezing them in amongst everything else. But yes, I am definitely doing a video on Middle-a-Tricks. Next question is from Mystery Man, who says, do you know of any impromptu tricks using a spectator's wristwatch? My favourite one, I mean, obviously you've got coin under watch, card under watch, that sort of stuff. But my favourite one is one that I learned from Richard Osterland, and you can learn it from his first L&L DVD set, and it's incredible. Basically, you have 2 spectators come up on stage. One spectator, you have them write down a time of the day, any time of the day at all, and you get them to hold on to that. You then have somebody else lend you their watch, and you have them twist the crown and stop anytime you want to. When they stop, they hold that watch in their hand. You then tell them to think of the time, and they think of the first person thinks of the time. You tell them the time they're thinking of, and then you turn back to the other person and you say, now you twisted that crown as much as you wanted to. Have a look at the time, and they've set their own watch to the time that the first person thought of and that they didn't even know. It's incredible. It's been one of my favourite impromptu tricks for probably 20 years now. And it's just as good now as it was when I first learned it from Richard Osterland. So there you go. Okay, so the next question is from Mystery Man, again, who says, I know you're a coin guy. What are your thoughts on the Lethal Tender coin trick? Have you performed it? Did Lethal Tender for years. Lethal Tender was the inspiration behind the Apparition coin set. And it was also Justin's inspiration for Silver Dream. Both myself and Justin, because Justin created Silver Dream, I created Apparition. Basically the same thing. And we, independent creation, and me and Justin came together on the project, and it's a wonderful thing. But both of those effects were based on Lethal Tender, and it was born out of a desire to improve Lethal Tender in that there's a few issues with Lethal Tender. It's great. I performed it for years, but there's no denying there's a couple of problems. First of all, you have a wallet, a packet trick wallet. You wouldn't keep coins in a wallet. It kind of looks a bit odd. Hence the reason a purse is a better option. Second of all, because of how the gimmick works with Lethal Tender, you can't realistically use, when you're showing a silver, you can't put the coin in the spectator's hands, or you can't have the gimmick taken off the Chinese coin and have it portrayed as a silver $half or dollar. It's just not going to happen. So there were a few limitations that stopped you from being able to do multi-phase routines because of how the gimmick was created. And then the little magnetic card kind of didn't make much sense at all. It's like, why have you got a card in there, and why are you covering the coin with the card? And I know you could keep the card in the wallet and use the wallet, but then why is there a card in there randomly, arbitrarily? So that's where Apparition came from, by putting the gimmick inside the purse and by changing the actual coin gimmick to one that can portray. I'm trying to speak in code, but it means that there's more options open to you. So yes, I've performed Lethal Tender. I think it's a great trick, and it was the inspiration for one of my favorite tricks of all time, but I don't do it anymore because I prefer Apparition. Okay, so the next question is from Comedy King, who says, "Hey Craig, I booked you for a wedding in Scotland." Oh, cool. I'm excited. I don't know. My office managed my diary for me, but if I'm booked for your wedding, that's very exciting. The only thing is, like I said in my last comment, I know some stuff and I'm worried that I will know what's happening. Do you have this problem with clients? And if you do, what do you do when you're doing something on mine and my partner's wife? Thanks, Terry. Well, luckily, I got quite a few magician foolers, and I always make sure that it's fairly obvious to me when somebody's a magician when I'm at a gig. You kind of got that knowing look. And so if there is a magician there, I'll kind of literally go, hang on a minute, do you know a bit about magic? You do? Oh, fantastic. Well, guys, I'm going to do something just for this gentleman over here. We call him the expert. Let me see what I can do. Right. And I'll do a trick that will just blow his mind, and that will still be entertaining for everybody else. Having said that, for me, the most important part is entertainment. I mean, if you've seen me perform, you'll know that the key thing is entertainment, right? So I'm there to entertain the guests. I'm not there necessarily to fool people, to fool magicians. It's not a lecture. It's not a magic convention. It's a wedding. So I'm there to make sure that everybody gets entertained. But I will make sure that if there's magicians there, I kind of show them something that they will appreciate. But you can appreciate something without being fooled by it. So, for example, you look at the card in the box that I do. Magicians understand the misdirection behind the card in the box routine, but every time magicians watch it, they're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. So I understand, what you're talking about. And if you've booked in, give me a call. If you've got a booking with me, you can get my phone number off the office. Give me a call, and I can talk through what you know, what you don't know. Of course, I always do a special performance for the bride and groom, and absolutely I want to make sure that I'm doing something that you guys will appreciate. So if you're both magic gods, I'll prepare something ahead of time. So give me a call, and we can talk it through. Okay, so Darren Brain says, "Hi Craig, I continue to be inspired every week by the amazing content on Magic TV. Keep it up, thank you very much, Magic TV team. I recently bought Pocket Roulette, and in the tutorial it was stated that there's a move in which the trick creators can't teach because the move is not theirs to teach. Somewhat annoyed me, as I think creators should provide tricks which are good to go. They referenced a book called Vitalis by Franco Pasquale and Antonio Bergius, to learn the move without saying what it's called. As you may recall from my previous question, RE crossing the gaze switch, thanks for the great answer to that, I learned better from watching videos and reading books. So what I need is a way to convince a spectator that I am holding and giving to them 5 cards, when in truth, I'm only giving them 4 cards. Any thoughts? Okay. So you want to convince them that there's 5 cards, when in truth, there's only 4 cards. So there's a few ways to do that. It depends on whether you've got a deck with you or not. The first way, if you have got a deck, is to do a kind of a simple Atlas move, which would look like this. So you could say, look, right, so I've got the Jack of Hearts, the King of Clubs, the 7 of Hearts, and the 8 of hearts. That's 5 cards, right? And hang on, let me do it this way. So I've got card number 1, the Jack of Hearts. I've got card number 2, the 8 of Hearts. Card number 3, the Jack of Clubs. Card number 4, the King of Hearts, King of Clubs, and card number 5, the 7 of Hearts. And you give them the cards, and they've only got 4. So that's Atfus. It's by Ed Marlowe. It stands for Anytime Face Up Switch. And basically, you get a break underneath the top card. You take your 5 cards, and you bring them over the deck, and you pick up that 1 card holding a thumb break at the back. So you've got that 1 card separate to the other 5. So what you're going to do is you're going to pull off that first face-up card on the count of 1, and as you put it underneath the packet and square everything up against the deck, you're going to drop everything below the break with your thumb. Boom. So it looks like that card's gone underneath the packet, but in reality it's there. So you go card number 1, card number 2, card number 3, card number 4, card number 5. You give them the cards and you've eliminated 1, right? Okay. So in full speed, it looks like this. So if you've got a deck with you, using Atfus is an amazing way to display all 5 cards and give it to them, but you've eliminated 1. The other way of doing that is a Darwin Ortiz thing, which I first saw him do in Kartenkunst. If you spread the 5 cards off like this in a back spread, and you hold them so that your thumb and your middle finger is against the edge of the bottom card, just by squeezing, you can flick that card off. You see that? Just by squeezing, you can flick that card off. So if you've got a deck, you can display the 5 cards by giving them a back spread, and you can pick up the deck and you can say, so I've got these 5 cards. Can you hold your hand out for me? And in the action of squaring them up, you flick that card back onto the deck. So when you're giving it them, you're only giving them 4 cards. And I don't know the context of the routine. So if you take out 5 cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you take out these 5 cards, make sure that that bottom one is in jog slightly. You can see that's in jog slightly. You can use your forefinger to pull it back into the deck as you spin out the others, and you're only giving them 4 cards, and that will work face up as well. So you can say, I'm going to take out the King of Spades, the Queen of Spades, the King of Hearts, the Queen of Spades, the 4 of Clubs, the 2 of Hearts, and we'll pick out the 3 of Diamonds. That is all of the cards. There you go. Do you want to hold on to them? And you've got rid of 1. Now, if you don't have the deck in play, let's say you've got your 5 cards and you don't have them in play, so you've got your 5 cards and you have to give them 1. The other option is you could just palm one of those cards. So you could do a side steal and give them those cards, and you've side stolen that bottom card. So you're holding the deck like this, you're pushing that bottom card into your palm as you're squaring up the cards. So you can say, look, I've got these 5 cards. Do me a favor, can you hold your hand out for me? Take those 5 cards. You've got rid of that one. You can do that by palming the card off the top as well. So hold your hand out for me. Very good. Hold on to those 4. You've palmed that one off the top. You can do it by doing a gambler's cop. So you can gambler's cop that bottom card as you give them the rest. These get copped. And the other thing that you can do, if you've actually only got 4 cards and you want to display them as 5 and then give it them, but there's only 4, there's a couple of options. The first option is to do like a Hammond count. So you hold the cards from above, you go 1, you go 2. On the count of 3, you switch the packet. So you take this packet with your ring finger, you take all of these cards with your left hand, and then that becomes 4, that becomes 5. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if you're doing that, angle the cards down so they're looking at the top of the cards, because then they're not going to see the switch, and it's going to look like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards. Give it them, there's only 4. Or another way of doing that, if you don't like working from biddle grip, is holding them like this, and you're gonna take, as if you're doing an Elmsley count, basically. So you're gonna take 1. As you go to take the second one, instead of taking it on top like you would, you're going to do an Elmsley count style pullback. So you're going to take that card back as you take the second one, and then just go 3, 4, 5. So you're going to go, right, I've got 5 cards here. That one's number 1, that one's number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. Whenever you're doing a false count, you want to have the rhythm correct. You don't want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep the rhythm the same. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and same with biddle grip. 1, whoop, there we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and. So I don't know the context, but there's about 7 or 8 different ways to show 4 cards, show 5 cards and give them 4. Hopefully one of those will work for you. Okay, so the next question is from Magic Elliott, who says, hey Craig, you're a legend and this channel is the gift that keeps on giving. Thank you. Here's today's question. What do you think of Rattle dice? I've put my pre-order in on Penguins. So have I. I don't know. It's coming and I'm excited and I want to see it, but I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's like. I just know that the trailer looks really good. So it'll be going and getting reviewed very, very soon. But for now, your guess is as good as mine. I'm sorry. Okay, so the next question is from Magic Trades, who says, could you provide any good ideas or sources for tricks to perform at a wedding? I'm the best man for a friend's wedding in November and I wanted to do something as part of the speech. I've got a good working understanding of card magic and I'm a beginner at coin magic, if that helps with suggestions. I'm doing a video soon on the best wedding tricks of all time. So you want to look into that. Some that I would suggest, I put a really good trick that I do at weddings on the Netrix recently. So I can't remember what it's called, the romantic card trick or something. Anniversary Waltz is a classic. There's lots of different versions. One of my favorite versions that I've seen recently is Nicholas Lawrence's Anniversary Hearts that came out through Penguin Magic. But my favorite version of all time uses a regular deck and it's called Easy Waltzer. And it's my own routine. I put it on Locked in a Room Without Coins and it's also on the Netrix. So there's that. The One by Matthew Underhill and World Magic Shop. Now, you can get multiple cards to do The One in the World Magic Shop Gaff deck, which is available from World Magic Shop. And that's one of the best wedding tricks of all time. Just Google The One by Matthew Underhill. You can get it from World Magic Shop. It's quite old now, but it is absolutely brilliant. White Wedding by Chris Congreve is great. That's come out recently. That's a really great wedding trick. I'm trying to think of others. Yes, I am. I mean, there's millions of them. I'm doing a video on this, so I'm going to hold back a lot of stuff that I'm talking about on the video. One thing that's really cool is to do an Out of This World with 26 cards. If you have Evoke, use Pete Turner's method to do the Out of This World. Yeah, use Pete Turner's method to do Out of This World. But use blank cards and write on them in red pen. 13 of the cards has the bride's name on, 13 of the cards have the groom's name on, and the presentation writes itself. It's absolutely amazing. That'll give you a good starting off point. That'll give you a good jumping off point. There are obviously lots of other wedding tricks, and I'll be doing a video on this soon. But if you are only going to do one, just look up any version of Anniversary Waltz. I'll give you another one, bonus one. Murray Mint by Michael Murray. If you are into coin magic, it is a brilliant way to do an Anniversary Waltz, but with borrowed coins. Okay, so the next question is from Dave Cariadi, who says, hey Craig, just want to say you're a nice and hardworking content creator. I hope you know that someone is watching and enjoying the videos that you put out, like the videos where you joke around with Matt and eating bananas when he was performing Coda made me laugh. Keep up the videos. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Anyway, will you review Boombox by Wondermakers soon? Yes, me and Ryland have already shot that. It's coming up on a review show soon. TDLR, I don't like it. You want to know why? Go check out the review, but I'm not a big fan. Okay, so the next question is from Adrian Suter, who says, hi Craig, my wife is a hobbyist seamstress. Cool. 2 questions. Do you know any resources for sewing patterns for magical props? Michael Amar has a top-it pattern, I believe. Pat Page used to have a top-it pattern, but Michael Amar definitely has a top-it pattern where the top-it goes into the outside jacket pocket, so you can retrieve the item from the outside jacket pocket. So yeah, there's that. I don't know of any other. I know of tricks that I think that people should be able to offer as a custom job. Like I remember seeing a trick years ago in Bobo's where you put a glass in your pocket and 3 coins vanish one at a time from your hand and appear in the glass, and they hear them clink in there. And it was a chute that went, a silk chute that went from the top pocket down into the jacket pocket. So what happens is you put the coin in your hand, you thumb palm it out, you drop it in the top pocket, and it goes down the chute and lands in the glass in that pocket, and you bring it out and show it, and it can be 3 signed coins. It's incredible. And I don't know anybody who makes it up and puts it into jackets. I would love to have that in my jacket. I'd perform the shit out of that. But I don't know anyone who does patterns like that. I mean, obviously you've got interlace, which involves, I think you've got patterns or something, or instructions with that. Because I remember getting interlace and going to a seamstress and having it put into my trouser pockets. But I don't know what else. I think somebody who's half creative should come up with some ideas and then sell patterns to make those ideas a reality. I think that would be a good business opportunity. Okay, so the next question again is from Agent Suter, who says, do you think that there's a market for custom-made egg bags and the like? Yeah, I do. I think there's a market for anything in Magic. I think there's people that make custom egg bags, custom fabrications, I think, from the top of my head. But you know what? There's room for more. There's always room for more. Magicians love buying stuff made out of fabric. You know, Andy, who runs the Wood Wizard, you know, there's tons of props with wood, but he's made a very big business for himself making tables and stuff out of wood. There's definitely going to be a market out there if you put the effort in. Yeah. Okay, so the next question is from Richard Wood, who says, Craig, I believe you're going to be adding routines to the Extractor. If so, when can we expect to see said routines? Thanks, Richard. I'm going up to Alakazam in September, right at the beginning of September, on the slate to film our extra routines for Extractor. So they will have them by the end of the first week in September, and then it's up to them as to when they put it on the project. But it's going to be there soon. I've got the routines. August is a very busy month for me, but I've got the routines, and I'll be filming them up there in September. I was meant to film them earlier on this month, but I had to leave Alakazam early because my dog had to get put down, so I had to come back to the Midlands to be with her and my wife and my kids. But I'm definitely filming it in September. Okay, so Divishad Magician says, do you use a Slate Writer for anything? No, I've got a couple of them. It's not something that I use. I occasionally crack out a pocket-sized version for Halloween, if I've got any Halloween bookings, it's a nice thing to carry around in my pocket for close-up shows. But no, I don't really do anything with the slates. Okay, so the next question is from Anthony Povey, who says, hi, Craig, can you tell us what the name will be of what everyone refers to as the Quantum Deck 2, please? No, because Murphys will kill me. They're already annoyed at me that I started referring to it as the Quantum Deck 2. If I then tell you what the actual name is, I think I'll be ostracized from the Magic community. So no, I'm not going to say anything. You can't make me tell you that it begins with the letter A. Okay, so the next question is Divishad Magician, who says, do you think Tom Stone's Benson Burner would work for Britain's Got Talent? Because the one-handed vanishes and the end explosion would look great on TV with music. The only reason I'd bother learning it is for this reason, as it wouldn't be useful for me anywhere else. Do you think I should learn it, as it may work for Britain's Got Talent? Or should I spend my time thinking of something else that would work better? If you think this isn't the type of thing they would like. Tom Stone told me it may work. I question whether you should ever learn a trick just to do on Britain's Got Talent, at least in the audition phase. Because I think the thing that makes a good performance on Britain's Got Talent is going out and just doing something that you have done a million times, that you can do inside out and back to front, and it comes across as polished. You know, I think about all of the great acts that go on Britain's Got Talent, all the great Magic acts. And there's a couple of exceptions here or there, but generally as a rule, I would say that they're doing stuff that they've done a million times. I think learning a trick just to do on Britain's Got Talent is probably not a wise move. Could Benson Burner work on Britain's Got Talent? Yes, I think it could. However, I think it could come across as a little bit old hat as well, because I think that the problem is, and I'm not an expert on Britain's Got Talent by any stretch of the imagination, but I think the problem is when you do an act on in any talent show, I think you have to think through what the act entails and what the judges are going to perceive of the act. So, for example, you might have the greatest card routine in the world. It might be the most amazing card trick that you've ever seen, with an amazing card reveal that no one's ever seen before, that no one ever sees coming. But if the structure of the routine is that you get the trick wrong a few times and you have that magician in trouble scenario, you might get buzzed before you even get to do the final reveal. They might not think it's a particularly great trick because they're not educated in magic. So it's the same with Benson Burner. They've seen sponge ball magic before. And Benson Burner doesn't even use sponge balls in the most commercial way, which is you hold on to this one, I'll hold on to this one, look, it's jumped. And at the beginning, the balls are going under the cup and under the bowl, and it looks really, really good. But they might kind of think, well, we've seen this before, and obviously it then builds to a crescendo, and it's like boom, 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 it's amazing. But it takes you a while to get there. And depending on the music choice and the way that you perform it, they might buzz you before they even get to that point. Now, they might not. I'm not dissing Benson Burner at all, by the way. I think it's one of the greatest tricks of all time. But what I think is the greatest trick of all time, and what those judges who have seen everything think is the greatest trick of all time, is a massive difference. Now, bearing in mind, Jasper Cherry went on Britain's Got Talent with nothing but Silk to Egg and killed it. You know, you look at people that go on Britain's Got Talent these days, and as I say, it's not always the case, because you look at the, Ben Hart and Aidan and all those guys came together and did that act, and they did really well. Magicians Assemble, wasn't it, this year? And they did they did an opening routine using stuff that nobody had ever seen before, and the production of Aidan out the sand and everything, and that looked amazing, and that was great. But a lot of the time, I just don't think. First of all, Divishan, I know you, obviously you're young. Don't worry. Yes, if you want to go on Britain's Got Talent, you should absolutely go on Britain's Got Talent. But I wouldn't be thinking about learning routines just to perform on Britain's Got Talent. I would worry about flight time on stage. Like, how many times have you performed on a stage even remotely the same size as a Britain's Got Talent stage? Because that is a very intimidating experience. And if you haven't, get some experience doing that. And when you put your act together, put it together based on routines that you know inside out, back to front, and upside down. Because if things go wrong and you've done the trick a million times, you know what you have to do to get out of that. If you go in with something that you've specifically learned just to do there, it's never going to be as polished as something you've done a million times. At least that's just my opinion. So could Benson Burner work? Absolutely, Benson Burner could work. But likewise, it might not work. But it's totally up to you at the end of the day. You got to do what you think's best. I personally don't think going on with a trick that you've done before, or a trick that you've learned just to do that act is really the best option. But it's only my opinion. There were several. So Adrian Suter says there's several Mount Rushmore questions on the Q&A recently. What are your foremost versatile magicians who excel in various genres of magic? Well, I'm going to say, first of all, Nemid Phoenix. I know I rave about Nem all the time on this channel, but it's because I work with him. I've seen him kill at close-up, kid shows, cabaret, illusion shows, pickpocketing, mentalism, comedy magic, serious magic. I think he's an unsung hero and one of the best magicians in the world, as far as I'm concerned. So Nemid Phoenix I put on that list. I'd also put on the list Scott Alexander. Obviously, he's passed away now. But Scott Alexander, you know, you saw him performing on stage, you saw him performing close-up, you saw him do illusions on America's Got Talent. You know, you've seen lots of different versions of him doing family shows and kid shows on Disney cruise liners and everything. I think Scott Alexander would deserve to be on that list 100%. Also, I would say Russ Brown, who owns the House of Secrets. If you don't know Russ Brown, he's absolutely amazing. His show, his family show, is amazing. He's done illusions, he's done close-up, he's done it all, inside out, back to front, upside down, left way, sideways, and back again. So I'd say definitely Russ Brown. So we got Russ Brown, we got Nemid Phoenix, we've got Russ Brown, Nemid Phoenix, Scott Alexander. I need one more. Who is a really... I'm thinking of somebody who does everything. An eclectic range of stuff. I'd say Chris Frost. Frosty, who is in the UK. You might not have heard of him. But he does family shows, he does ventriloquism, he does kid shows, he does singing, he does dancing. He doesn't do illusion shows, but he does close-up. He does mentalism. His book test's really good. Yeah, Chris Frost. I'm going to go with Chris Frost. There are 4 names that people probably didn't expect. Not the 4 biggest names in magic, but 4 people who I consider to be very versatile as performers. So there you go, guys. That's another Q&A in the bag. Thank you once again for joining me right here on Magic TV. Now, don't forget, if you want to get a question on the Q&A, leave it down below. Get it into me as soon as possible. I'll try and answer it on next week's Q&A. Also, don't don't forget, if you want to see more videos like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I've got a review show special going up tonight at 9 o'clock, so make sure you check out that. Check out the Talk Magic interview from yesterday. That's really good. 2 Las Vegas headliners I interviewed yesterday, right here on Magic TV. One of my favorite interviews I've ever done. Go check out all of that. And if you haven't already done so, please go check out the Netrix. It's www.thenetrix.com. That's www.thenetrix.com. Go check it out. See what all the fuss is about. I will be back again soon. I want to say thank you very much for watching. Thank you for tuning in the channel. My name's Craig, and this is Magic TV.